there's no room for hate, this and that and the other one, and you got a player that's blatantly advocating for violence against far and away your most popular player.
The WNBA once again finds itself at the center of controversy as Angel Reese continues throwing shade at Caitlin Clark over what was simply a hard basketball play. Instead of addressing the real issue, the league has chosen to portray the Indiana Fever as an unsafe environment, exposing a growing tension between players and the WNBA's troubling habit of prioritizing drama over facts.
Apparently, Angel Reese is looking to sue Caitlin Clark after Clark's brutal technical foul against her the other day. Reese claims that Clark's brutal foul of her was over $10 million in collective damages in terms of the physical pain that was inflicted, the emotional distress that resulted of it, and most importantly, the damage to Reese's brand and her capability to earn more as a WNBA player.
In an age of social media hot takes and manufactured outrage, facts have become rarer than empty seats at a Caitlin Clark game. During the season opener between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, with 4:38 remaining in the third quarter, Angel Reese grabbed an offensive rebound. What happened next was nothing more than a textbook basketball play, yet somehow, it has been twisted into the sports world's version of a conspiracy theory.
I did not sign up to cover a reality show, to cover drama, to cover politics, to cover race relations when it comes to a league that I thought was a professional basketball league. Unfortunately, this league continues to prove that it's not that, and the media continues to prove that they are not going to cover it as if these are actual athletes playing a sport. They are going to use it to push narratives, to push think pieces, to make the sport into something that it is not.
Caitlin Clark, chasing the loose ball, struck Angel Reese's arm hard enough to knock the ball free and send Reese to the floor. Was it physical? Absolutely. Was it basketball? Without question. But in Angel Reese's world, a place where basketball courts double as fashion runways and every tough defensive play feels like a personal attack, this routine hard foul was suddenly framed as something far more sinister.
Caitlin Clark has made the WNBA relevant. Look at how far Angel Reese has come in just the last 12 months. Hell, look at how far Angel Reese has fallen in the last 12 months. Mutual respect has been replaced with disdain.
The officials reviewed the play, upgraded it to a flagrant one, and handed out double technical fouls to both players. Caitlin Clark, showing the maturity that has come to define her career, told ESPN there was nothing malicious about the foul, calling it simply a basketball play. Meanwhile, Angel Reese popped up like a jack-in-the-box at a toddler's birthday party, ready to turn routine contact into the next great sports drama. But this is where the story takes an even more ridiculous turn. Instead of moving on like a professional who understands that hard fouls are part of the game, Reese chose to play the victim, delivering the performance with all the dramatic flair of a soap opera star who just discovered her evil twin.
Easy. White girl running from the fade. There's Angel Reese right there. There's, of course, Caitlin Clark doing the responsible thing, not wanting to tank her public relations. Like Angel Reese walking away after the take foul the other night, or the other day against the Chicago Sky. But right there, there's the picture. And Angel Reese did, in fact, repost this on TikTok, it looks like, and share it. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Or are you kidding me?
While Caitlin Clark stayed focused on what she does best, dropping dimes, knocking down threes, and filling arenas to capacity, Angel Reese seemed to launch what looked like a full-scale digital guerrilla warfare campaign. Because apparently, when you can't match someone's basketball impact or drawing power, the next move is to become the WNBA's chief prosecutor of imaginary crimes. The pattern became as predictable as Angel's next social media outburst after every Caitlin Clark highlight. Share a video here, throw some subtle shade there, and suddenly every hard foul becomes proof of some grand conspiracy against the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie. At that point, it starts to feel like watching someone argue that gravity is personally attacking them every time they trip.
They make up nonsense, they make up lies, and the WNBA validate the lies. The WNBA validates the nonsense. The WNBA validates non-truths by opening up an investigation into the Indiana Fever and the environment.
What's particularly fascinating, and by fascinating we mean deeply concerning, is how Angel Reese managed to turn a routine basketball foul into a months-long social media campaign. You'd think she had been fouled by Mike Tyson in his prime, not by Caitlin Clark, a 22-year-old point guard built more for precision than punishment. But this was never really about the foul, was it? This was about watching Caitlin Clark become everything Reese thought she would be: the face of women's basketball, the star who sells out arenas, the player whose presence turns an ordinary Tuesday night game into a cultural event. And instead of using that as fuel to elevate her own game, Reese seemed to choose the far easier path, turning frustration into perpetual victimhood.
Foul. But it was very convenient how most of the internet, not all of the internet, most of the internet though, clipped out Angel Reese pushing the Fever Girl in back, Caitlin pointing at the ref like, what are we talking about here? We're not calling that. They clipped that out. They just go to right here, bang, Caitlin Clark fouls Angel Reese, and then boom, buzzsaw on the internet about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Ultimately, I think the buzz is good for the WNBA as a whole. I know it's probably not fun to be a part of if you're Caitlin or Angel Reese or anybody else, but in the end, the Indiana Fever win by 100, and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have started their second season in the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark is on track to be the greatest of all time.
Now, this is where the story shifts from merely disappointing to absolutely infuriating. The WNBA, in all its supposed wisdom, has chosen to ignore Angel Reese's ongoing campaign of shade while simultaneously painting the Indiana Fever as some kind of unsafe environment for players. Let that sink in. The league seems more concerned with policing hard basketball plays than addressing the toxic narrative being fueled by one of its own stars. This is the same league that profits massively from the Caitlin Clark effect. Every time she steps on the floor, ticket sales soar, TV ratings spike, and suddenly everyone, from your grandmother to your mailman, has an opinion about women's basketball. Yet instead of protecting the player driving that momentum, the WNBA appears willing to entertain the drama surrounding someone whose biggest contribution to basketball discourse has been turning routine fouls into federal cases. The league's response, or lack of one, says everything. When Clark gets hit hard, it's brushed aside. When Clark plays physical defense, somehow she becomes the villain. It feels like watching the world's most expensive referee blow call after call while wearing a blindfold and insisting they have perfect vision.
Because it has escalated into something where now there is an investigation going on because there has been hateful fan comments, supposedly, directed towards Angel Reese, and there were things going on in the arena where now the narrative is back that we heard all last season. The narrative is back that Indiana is not a safe place.
This selective outrage isn't just hypocritical, it's dangerous for the sport. Basketball is, and always has been, a contact sport. From Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's legendary battles to Michael Jordan getting battered by the Detroit Pistons' bad boys, great players have always had to fight through physical play. But apparently, in the WNBA's new reality, hard fouls are only acceptable when they happen to certain players. The most striking part of this entire saga isn't the foul itself, or even Angel Reese's theatrical response. It's the sharp contrast in how these two players handled the aftermath. While Reese spent months building an image of herself as the wronged party over what was clearly a routine basketball play, Caitlin Clark did what great players always do. She let her game speak for itself. Since the incident, Clark has continued packing arenas like she's handing out free money at the door. Fans aren't stupid. They know the difference between someone who lives and breathes basketball and someone who treats the court like an extension of their personal brand. They can see when one player answers adversity by working harder, and when another answers it by launching a social media campaign designed to manufacture sympathy.
And the WNBA is going after and lecturing Indiana Fever fans in this investigation? Are you trying to tell me Angel Reese is not going to get suspended for this, not going to get fined for this? Or is the WNBA too gutless to stand up against things like this, even if it is against a white woman?
Caitlin Clark's approach to the situation has been nothing short of professional. She acknowledged the foul, explained her perspective, and moved on. No cryptic social media posts, no victim narrative, no month-long campaign to rewrite history, just basketball, pure and simple. It's almost like she understands that the best answer to controversy is to be so good at your job that everything else becomes irrelevant. Angel Reese, on the other hand, has treated this incident like her personal Watergate, complete with ongoing investigations, social media evidence, and a storyline so tangled it could make conspiracy theorists proud. Somehow, she has managed to turn a 3-second basketball play into a months-long grievance that has become her main contribution to sports discourse. So let's be honest about who the real victims are in this manufactured controversy, and spoiler alert, it's not Angel Reese. The real victims are basketball fans who simply want to enjoy the game without sitting through endless social media drama created by players who seem to have more time for online narratives than perspective on what actually matters: the sport itself.
An entire fan base off of what's been said off the internet. I pray that's not what you're doing right now. Like messages like this, right? We were at this game and it was hard to enjoy with the racism at this game. Angel definitely needs some help, and the CC play was definitely intentional, and the monkey names and noises the Fever fans were referring to Reese was unbearable to sit through. You know it's something when before the game starts there's a message on the big about racism not being tolerated. That's BS. So you mean tell me this individual had the time to take the picture right here, right? But didn't have the time to record some of the nonsense that she was witnessing?
The real victims are the young girls who look up to these players and are being taught that adversity should be answered not with resilience and hard work, but with social media campaigns and victim narratives. They're learning that when someone else achieves more success, the answer isn't to improve yourself, it's to look for ways to tear them down. The real victims are also the many other WNBA players working tirelessly to build their careers through actual basketball accomplishments, only to watch the spotlight get swallowed by manufactured drama. These athletes are putting in the work to elevate the league's reputation, yet too often the conversation gets hijacked by soap opera storylines that have little to do with what happens on the court. And perhaps the biggest victim of all is the sport of basketball itself. Every minute spent debating Angel Reese's reaction to a routine foul is a minute not spent celebrating the elite talent, fierce competition, and athletic brilliance these players bring every night. Every social media breakdown of a hard screen or tough foul is space that could have been used to showcase the rising skill level and excitement of women's basketball, something Caitlin Clark and many others are helping bring to the forefront.
Break down the games. We're not going to break down offenses, defensive, situational basketball, game planning for this team, game planning for that team, getting inside the mind of a coach, getting inside the mind of a player. No! This is the WNBA, where we break down WT. And you wonder why nobody takes this league seriously. You wonder why you guys were in the broom closet for the last 25, because we're too worried about WT instead of the actual game. But just look at the double standard, look at the hypocrisy when it comes to the NBA. Oh, we're talking ball. We're talking NBA playoffs. But when it comes to the W, oh, Shanae, oh, Ghoul, it's all about the T.
This entire situation reveals a broader tension in how the WNBA positions itself and its players. The league often appears caught between wanting to be recognized as a serious professional basketball organization and simultaneously benefiting from the kind of drama that drives social media engagement. Those two goals don't always align. Professional basketball leagues typically rely on clear standards, accountability, and a strong focus on the product on the court. In most cases, narratives about individual disputes are managed quickly so they don't overshadow the game itself. The comparison is often made to the NBA, where even high-profile incidents are usually absorbed into the competitive flow of the season rather than allowed to dominate discourse for extended periods. The concern from a broader sports perspective is that prolonged off-court narratives can start to overshadow the actual basketball. While moments of controversy can bring attention in the short term, sustained growth in any league tends to come from consistently high-level competition, rivalries built on performance, and players being defined primarily by what they do between the lines. That's why the most enduring sports leagues ultimately return the focus to the same place: execution, competition, and results on the court.
Caitlin thinks of it as a rivalry at all. I think she just comes to hoop, and she knows that she's got a competitor coming to hoop against her, and she wants to beat her every time she plays against her. I think that it's nothing personal with Caitlin. I think that she loves to go out there and try to win. And you know, she got beat up all last year. She didn't complain, she got up, she kept going. I think Angel feels like she has to prove something, but she don't.
There's a real argument to be made that leagues always have to balance two things at once: protecting competitive integrity on the court while also navigating the modern reality that social media has become part of the ecosystem around professional sports. The WNBA is not unique in that tension, but it does feel more visible right now because of the level of attention surrounding players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. From an organizational standpoint, leagues generally do have policies around conduct, professionalism, and public behavior, but enforcement and interpretation are where things get complicated. Not every social media post or perceived subtweet falls neatly into something a league can or should discipline, especially when it overlaps with personal expression, branding, or fan engagement. That gray area is exactly what makes these situations so hard to regulate consistently. At the same time, it's also fair to say that sustained off-court narratives can start to distort how moments on the court are perceived, especially when they're replayed and reframed across platforms. Most leagues try to manage that by returning focus to competition. Official statements, officiating reviews, and post-game comments from players and coaches rather than extended public back and forth. Ultimately, the long-term health of any professional league still depends on what happens during games. Quality of play, competitive balance, and clear officiating standards. Social media will always amplify emotion and controversy, but leagues tend to stabilize when the on-court product consistently outweighs everything happening around it.